What's up, everybody? Welcome back to Rascal Garage. Today I'm trying to repair my Harbor Freight bandsaw. Old red, old faithful. Oh man. So the pulley, this pulley has pretty much failed, but I've gotten it to work. So where I'm at now is, you can see that I'm going to take this off in a second, but I welded some threads onto the spline shaft or spindle shaft, whatever. I cut a bolt in half. So with these Harbor Freight saws, so there's like 4 models of the same saw, and each model has slightly different parts that are on there, and more specifically they have slightly different replacement parts. So I can't get those spindle gears, or those pulleys rather, that, you know, one's the drive pulley on the motor, and then one's the pulley that actually spins that goes into the main gear, and then it spins the actual saw blade itself. So they don't make a replacement for that, nor do they really make like this generic, or like, is there available 3-step V groove pulley, I think is what they're called. So all the ones are too big. They're all like 2, 3, 4 inch seems to be the most common, and this is like 2, 2.5, 3 inch with a 5/8 bore, and I can't like find any of that. So if any of you out there have replaced these successfully and know what I'm talking about, please drop me a comment and give me the part number so I can buy it. But anyway, so what I'm doing now is, like I said, I've welded, actually here, let me pull off the pulley so you can see this mess of what I've made here, but it is working. So bear with me, I'll show you, hang on. Okay, so here's the problem, all right? And forgive me, these welds aren't that great. So this thing is completely mangled. So what I've had to do is, I actually had this pin welded on, but I had just 2 big tacks kind of front and back, and that was working great for a while, and it recently broke. So then now I've welded it back on, and it's a little bit more mangled. So what I need to do is I need to kind of weld a little bit more height on here, a little bit more on the sides, and then I'll get out the belt sander and kind of clean this up. So then now what I've done is I've welded on a thread, because inevitably what happens is, no matter how snug I get the pin, after a while it begins to somewhat wobble or oscillate, and it'll come off. So again, this is like the most jankiest way to fix this for now, for the time being, but it cost me $0.00. I had an extra bolt lying around off the E36, so I just threw it on there. Anyway, like I said, I can't find one of these 3-groove, or it's a 3-step V groove pulley is what they're called. I can't find one, so I have to make do with this friggin' disaster. So that's why I've welded on a thread. So once I get the thread, or the pin built up enough to where it's snug enough, so when I hammer the pulley on there, it's snug, I can put the bolt on there, and then what I'll do is I'll just throw 1 quick tack on the bolt so the bolt doesn't back out. So then it should stay locked in. And I guess the only other thing I need to do is, once I do all that, I think I'm gonna have to drill or cut a hole in here and make a little window, because this thing just doesn't quite, I mean, it'll rub the entire time. So I'm gonna have to open up a little window in there, enough for that to stick out. I mean, this is just weak ass sheet metal, so I should be able to drill through this pretty easily. But yeah, That's the situation we're in. I went out to the garage yesterday and I want to start making a set of headers and turn the saw on for like 5 seconds. Pulley, I mean, oh my God, it just made a horrendous noise. Pulley jumped off, everything fell out of the casing here. So yeah, that's the backstory. Sorry, long-winded, but we're gonna repair this thing and get this all back into production mode. So let's continue on with this janky fix. Come on. All right, a couple of sketch welds and fumes and some sketch sheet metal work. I think we found our solution here to old red. So here's what we got. We have a very janky looking hole inside of this thing. However, all the stuff lines up nicely. Don't mind this thing wobbles, so there's a little bit of friction. We just tack the nut in the best location there. So now this thing's not going to wobble off. It's just going to wobble in the location that it's in. It does sound like crap right there, but if you start it up, it does indeed run. So now let's get a scrap piece of tube and try to cut it, because that's going to be the real test to put a little bit of load on it. And if it cuts, then we've fixed it for now. Hell yeah. All right, fixed it. The thing's cutting. We're back in production, at least for now. So, I mean, if you're facing the same issue with your Harbor Freight, because I'm sure all of those pulleys fail at some point because they're just cheap material. If anybody of you have replaced it successfully, please drop me a comment. I would love to just replace both pulleys and just have a whole new system altogether. I mean, I was to the point where I was contemplating just buying another saw. So anyway, it's fixed for now. If that helped, sweet. If not, maybe at least it was entertaining. Catch you guys next time. See you later.